Hey all you gorgeous YouTubers, today I'm going to show you how to remove the rear parcel shelf on your Jaguar XF. Now there are two reasons I want to remove mine. I have a smudge behind my high beam brake light under the glass, and I actually don't know how they got there. Some bugs in there as well, and it's really difficult to clean there because of the slope of the windshield. And then the other reason is there's some kind of rattle coming from the seatbelt mechanism in here. So guys, just before we carry on with this video, I just want to show you my wheels quickly. In a previous video when I showed you these wheels, they had red center caps, and what I've done is I've actually sprayed them matte black, and they actually make the car look much better now because those red center caps really stood out no matter where the car was, and I actually didn't like the look at all. So having sprayed them black, it just completely changes the entire look of the car. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get the seats down. So release your seats and get them down, and we have to take these covers off here, and these covers actually just clip off just like that. Right, so now we got this clip off and we got that cover off as well. Right guys, now we've got to get this trim piece of the seat away. We've got to get it out of the way, and in order to do that, you can't just pull at it and yank at it. There's a little clip in here behind there, and in order to get it out, we push this little tab down. You can see there's the two slots. You push it down and then that can come out. So we're going to push down and we're going to pull, and it's out. So once you've released that clip, you just pull forward and up to get it out. And I just want to show you guys, there's a little hook at the bottom, so you just got to make sure when you're pulling it out, you've got to push this thing forward, and I'll show you why. That hook I showed you at the bottom actually clips around that bolt right there. So you've got to push it forward in order to get it out, and this will actually reveal your seatbelt mechanism over here, and you can see there's the clip where it clips in at the top, and all you do is you just pull this tab down and it'll release the clip. Quickly, when you're performing this job on your car, it's advisable to have a bunch of trim tools. I also have this metal one, which is actually for door trim panels, but it works very well in removing these goodies off the car. I've gotten that one out, and we're going to do the next one here in the middle. It's a hell of a thing to get them out, but you can see what happens to them when you pull them out. So I've got these tabs out now, and you can see it's loose. It should be able to pull out, but now we have to release this panel, and we've got to take off this panel. Now behind here there's a screw. You can't just pull at this thing. There's a screw behind here, and before we can even get to that, I'm going to just take this cap off, and as you can see, this portion here bends underneath this one, so you got to remove this one first, and then you got to remove this one. And I'd recommend, in order to get this one off, just pull the door rubber away, because it fits under the door rubber. So just pull your door rubber away like that, and you should be able to get to it, or get it off. You should be able to get it off a little easier. So now what we're going to do is we're going to clip it on this side, because that's actually where the tab is, and take it off. And it's got a little thing that's attached to it, so I don't know if you can see that little tab over there. It clips into there. So you can see once we have this cover off, there's the bolt that needs to be undone in order to get the trim panel off. Now that looks like a T27 to me. I've noticed this car seems to use T27 quite a lot, so I'm going to try a T27. Let's see if it fits. So guys, you're going to need a wrench, a torque wrench, socket wrench, to get this thing off. And there, it's coming off easier. And always remember, lefty loosey, righty tighty. So we're going left, and we're going to try not to drop the bolt inside the panel. It isn't enclosed in there, so it won't really drop anywhere, but we don't want it to drop down behind the seat here, where I've removed the seat covers. I think the bolt is loose. Yeah. And you got to be careful for this, because if this thing falls out of here now, it could fall behind the seat and I could never find it again. And I don't have spare T27 Torx bolts. Okay, I got it out. So what I'm talking about is you don't want the bolts dropping in here and falling in there, because that is a crevasse you'll never be able to get into. Right, now that we got the bolt out, the first thing that I'm going to do is tug at the top here and try and loosen it, and it comes off pretty easily actually. And there seems to be a clip over here, and we got to pull that out. And so it's actually loose on the top. The whole top section's loose, but there were clips at the bottom holding it in that you need to pull at in order to get it out. Now I just want to show you something. There's a tab down there where it just goes in, and there's another tab over there, so you just pull it up and out, and you can see there are your clips, where your clips go. There are 3 clips, one there, and one there, and a hell of a lot of electronics behind here. So I'm just going to put that away, and the next thing we got to do is unclip this thing here. Now you'll see the reason you must take that panel off first is because that bolt that I just undid is actually holding this whole thing and that whole thing in place, and that's where the bolt actually goes in. So you must remove the bolt, and you must remove that C-pillar section first, and then you can actually take away your door rubber, and we can get in there and try and maneuver this thing out of the way. Now keep in mind your airbag is sitting here, okay, and this thing actually slips and slides out of place. It's not going to be easy to remove, but I would think we've got to pull it up and out. And there's a clip over there, it needs to come out, and I think there's another clip behind here that needs to come out. And once we have that out, there we go. So that was actually holding the roof liner in place as well. I'm just going to get this thing past the airbag. Not easy to do, but you got to get it out. Get it out there. Now it sounds like I'm breaking the car, but I'm actually not. You can actually just let this thing dangle down there. Just be careful when you're working not to break any of these tabs, because it is plastic. So I've got that side off, and I've got that side off, and I'm actually sitting here cramped in the back of the car. It's not a comfortable place to be right now, but it should be easy for us to just yank the whole parcel shelf out now and pull it forward towards me. Pulling the whole parcel shelf forward now. You just got to lift it up, and then pull it, and it will come. But now we've got to be careful. We have to get in there, and I can't do this holding the camera, but I've got to get in there to do the high beam brake lights clip. Hey guys, so trial and error. I've realized that this cable here is leading to the high beam brake light. So you need to unclip this little goodie and pull that cable out. Okay guys, so this goodie here, you actually have to unplug from the car. It's actually stuck into that hole, and you must pull this plug out as well, otherwise you'll end up pulling your wires too much. But you're gonna just have to take this off because I really want to get this thing right out, so I can clean the rear glass and also take a look at the rear seat belt mechanism. So guys, what I've done is I've actually just pulled the seat belt over here so that I can actually get this thing out of the way. I need it out of the way so that I can sit here and clean the rear windshield and also see what's going on with that mechanism over there as to why it's rattling. So I took the entire seat belt reel off, but for those of you who want to remove this in the future, you'll see there's a big bolt right there at the back, and that is a size 15 bolt. And you need a really big wrench to do it because there's a section sticking up, and I'll show you what it looks like. There's a section sticking up there, so you need a socket that can clear that bolt sticking up like that. What I can see, the rattling is actually coming from the actual real mechanism inside this plastic housing. Now in order to get that housing off, I'd have to break it. It's pretty much sealed on there, and I'm really not prepared to do that. So I'm just going to have to live with the rattle. I'm going to get everything hooked up again and get the parcel shelf back in the car. And I've cleaned all this up nicely, and I've cleaned the glass at the back as well. So I think we can get this mess cleaned up shortly. So I've slid it back into place now, and I'm very happy. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about the rattly seatbelt reel. And before you actually cover everything up, make sure you put this plug back in its hole and you plug it back in for your high beam brake light to work. So now I'm just going to do the reverse of the previous job of removing this and get this back into place. And remember to tuck this thing in behind your airbag so that it lines up with that hole over there. So the trim panels are in, and I'm just going to put the seat bolsters back and the rubber over here. Right guys, so we're going to get the seat bolster back in here, and it's going to clip in to the bottom here like that. But before we do that, we need to clear the seat belt. So get your seat belt out and over the top over there. It's not easy to do with one hand, that I can tell you. You guys will have the advantage of using both your hands, and then you just got to line it up with that tab there again and clip it in, and it's in. And our seat belt is working, and it's down here exactly where we want it, and that seat belt is in the right place. The seat bolsters are in. You can see all my tools over here, and putting the covers back on is pretty simple. Keep in mind there is a way that these things actually go, and you'll see this one actually goes on this side because this thing has to line up with that long hole over there. So we'll just put that on there, and it's in, it's clipped in. And you don't have to be very forceful with these. You just put them over the goodie and it's done. Right, so our trim clips are in, and what I've actually done is I've actually just used the old ones. They're still working pretty well, so I'm not going to replace them just yet. I think if I have to take this thing out one more time, then I probably will have to replace them. But you can see that everything is lined up nicely here as well for the child seats. You must just be careful of that. And we just get that seat belt out the way. And there we go. Everything's good as new. So guys, thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful to many of you. Also, just keep in mind that if you do have a rear sunblind, the procedure is going to be a little bit different. You've got to make sure that you lift the parcel shelf up before you pull it forward towards yourself. And also likewise, when you're putting it back, make sure that the sunblind clears the aperture on the parcel shelf so that it can lift up and down. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys. If it was, please comment down below and like, subscribe and share.